Disclaimer: I cannot recommend anyone use psychedelics. These are extremely powerful medicines which deserve utmost respect. Psychedelics are not meant for everyone, and furthermore, many that do decide to experiment should not view my usage as a guide for how they should use them, i.e., dosage and frequency of use. I believe my past life experiences and perhaps genetic luck has conditioned me to have the mental and spiritual strength to explore these experiences often with confidence that I will be safe and sound on the other side of them. Please keep this in mind when assessing your own preparedness. Finally, I embark on these journeys for inner transformation as well as to gain insights into the nature of reality. My intention behind sharing these experiences is to spark one's curiosity on these topics. Enjoy. Welcome to Seeking Awe, where the seeking stops and you can just surrender, be here now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Seeking Awe. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've recorded one of these. I think last time I recorded was back in February, and it is now November. And there are several reasons for that. Some of that will come out in the story today. I've been on a few journeys, psychedelic journeys, and also lots of my usual breath work. And I also did a 10-day Vipassana, which I was serving at since the last time I recorded. And there are several things that I could make an episode on its own for. But to be honest, I've been a bit resistant to getting on here. And probably the biggest reason was I had a very, very profound San Pedro experience, which I did actually talk about one of them, which was almost as profound in the last episode I recorded. And that was the one airbending experience on San Pedro. And I had a couple journeys more with San Pedro. For the first time, those two journeys were not guided by someone. It was solo. One was solo, one was with a very close friend. And frankly, the second journey, the solo one, was truly, truly the most profound experience I've ever had. And that one will actually be an episode on its own. But really, I've been sort of just trying to integrate and process before I share. Because frankly, in the last, I guess it's been 8 months or so, my views on reality have shifted a lot. And really, my views on reality had already been quite open-minded. And in many ways, they didn't fully shift, but they've become real. My views on reality, my beliefs about reality became real in ways that were frankly just hard to integrate and hard to find words and ways to express that newfound knowledge that I feel I've gained over the last 8 months or so. So that's been probably the biggest reason I haven't shared. It's just I take this very seriously, really. I desire to speak about everything I learn in a very rational way, and to observe and to be a skeptic of my own experiences. And that's sort of held me back a little bit because I perhaps have like a bit of perfectionism in my expression of these, of reality. So it's been a while, but I'm gonna try. I still don't feel 100% ready, but I'm just gonna go for it. And I'm gonna not actually tell the story of that one big journey, not yet. That one's coming soon, but I've had some really profound experiences much more recently, which tied together sort of many different things that are happening in my life, and in many ways can kind of summarize and express much of the shifts that have gone on with me over the last 8 months. So where do I begin? To give a little bit of context, one of the things that has consumed my life since I've last been on here is I have become totally obsessed with the didgeridoo. And it's sort of fit into my life in the most just beautiful way, where I've been able to play almost a couple hours a day, every day, even at work, which has just been amazing. And even just the Didge journey alone could be a podcast and a video on its own. But it's also tied into this story. So that I've been totally obsessed with the Didge. And I've been on lots of kind of journeys exploring that. Essentially, my life for the last 5 years has been really focused on my own personal growth. And my work has really opened that up for me. I work out in the bush in mineral exploration on geophysics surveys. Here in Australia, I work on EM surveys. And essentially that allows me to be in the bush and I get lots of downtime while at work. So plenty of time to ground, plenty of time to listen to audiobooks, plenty of time to listen to podcasts, plenty of time to play the didgeridoo because I've been bringing it out with me. Plenty of time to ground and to integrate all the more deep journeys that I go on my time off. So that's kind of the context of going into this particular time off that I had very recently, which the 3 plant medicine journeys I'll talk about was I had a pretty deep Hape experience. And then just over a week after that, I had my first ever ayahuasca experience, which was guided by an authentic shaman from Colombia who's deeply connected to a lineage that goes back thousands of years. He was traveling and did a journey in Perth, which was really, really, really profound. And 2 days after that journey, I went on a solo San Pedro journey. I felt it would be a beautiful time to integrate the ayahuasca journey. To some, that may sound crazy, but the way San Pedro works is they call it the grandfather medicine because it's much more masculine, much more direct in its messages. And ayahuasca is the grandmother medicine, and it's much more, it's the feminine energy, and it's less direct, is one way of putting it. I've only had one experience with it, but essentially my idea was that Pedro could help me bring to earth some of the lessons that I had gained, insights that I had gained during ayahuasca. And really, my main tool of integration lately has been the didgeridoo. I really believe music is one of the most powerful integration tools. So, yeah, essentially I planned a day with the didgeridoo. Didgeridoo and me and San Pedro. And it was really, really, really profound. So I'll start with the Hape journey. I have a beautiful, beautiful friend and roommate who is quite well acquainted with Hape, and we did a journey. And before the journey, he asked me what my intention was, and I said I would like to have an experience. And he's like, "Are you sure? You want an experience?" And I was like, yes, please give me an experience. And so I really got what I asked for. And he gave me a much bigger dose than usual. And it was intense, profound, beautiful, challenging, and really gave me a beautiful insight at the end, which has kind of carried through the next two journeys. So essentially what happened is I ended up being like totally incapacitated from the Hape. For those that haven't done Hape, Hape is very powerful and often used to just clear your energy field of any noise, is one way I like to think of it, and just bring you back to your center and to you. It kind of just clears excess energy that you don't need. It's possible, in my experience, if you do too much Hape, that it just wipes out all your energy. And that's what happened to me. I got rocked, basically. And I was practically immobile for almost 6 hours. I did manage about halfway through that to not crawl, but to get up and make it to my bed, which was not easy. But something that happened during this experience, which has happened to me before on Hape, it's difficult to put into words, but it only has happened when I'm in this totally energy zapped, rocked state. Can hardly move, like really can hardly move. Like if I need to throw up, I'm going to throw up exactly where I am, which did happen, but I was luckily in a half decent position for that. Felt like dying in many ways. It was really, really intense experience. I mean, not that I know actually what dying is, but it was, it started off very beautiful, I should say. You get this profound grounding into this moment now. And lots of energy. I got lots of energy flowing in my body, just like electric buzzing, and then just really profound gratitude and acceptance. I had also been going through a heartbreak and still struggling to let go at that time, and just came to lots of acceptance for that experience. And gratitude, lots of gratitude for everything I had learned. I was overflowing with gratitude to the point of nearly just crying. But then eventually nausea and dizziness and complete zapped energy brought me to the deck. I was decked, as one friend put it. And I was literally on a deck too. So just face planted on the deck, throwing up, spitting, unable to move. And something that occurred not right away, but eventually once I made it back to my bed, and I was laying there, and this has happened before, and I felt this storm ignite inside of my mind, is one way of putting it. It felt like this unrelenting burst of anger in the form of thoughts, thought forms, not like words or anything, but in my mind, like in my brain is kind of where it felt it was happening. And it was just attacking itself like a self-hatred, just fury. And I've never felt that for myself personally, other than in other previous Hape journeys. And it's so intense that I essentially feel like I'm sort of, the only way is to sort of disassociate from my body, the only way to like handle what's going on. And it's almost like it's just happening and I'm just kind of observing from just above or just next to myself. And this storm, it's just furious. It's indescribable, really. The only thing that I can relate it to from what other people have described is I think it's essentially what people would experience during a bout of really, really severe depression. You can't move. There's just this fury, completely uncontrolled mind attacking itself. And I would, sometimes drop into the body and just feel and like just get bounced around a little bit, and then I'd have to come out. And thankfully, unlike, people who are actually really suffering with mental illness, there is this part of my mind that is also aware that this is going to fade. Was induced by medicine and it will fade. And so that is another, major difference, obviously. Having this experience, but knowing it's going to end is much different than having this experience and, never seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I think, that experience makes me feel like I can understand why people, have ended it if they've got something like that going on that they can't control and it keeps coming back and they don't know how to get rid of it. It's really intense, but something that came up in conversation with my friend afterwards is he mentioned the relationship between passion and anger. And so that's what it really felt like. It felt like a release of anger, pent up anger in my mind, almost like every single time I had acted out of integrity with myself, I was now like reaping the punishment from that. And so it made me realize I've got some suppressed anger, clearly. But as soon as the moment he said, made this relationship between passion and anger, it just instantly dropped in, click, boom, yes, I've been suppressing my passion. I've been really suppressing my passion in so many areas of my life, in romantic relationships, in pursuing of my goals, just generally speaking, holding back my full self. So that just dropped in, and it was profound, and it was like just what I needed. And so that was kind of what was on my mind as I then went in to prepare for ayahuasca. So this theme of suppressing my passion had just sort of revealed itself, and it started revealing itself physically and energetically in ways that I personally didn't expect, but ultimately ended up making 100% sense. So, for example, the day before my ayahuasca experience, I was in the sauna and was beginning to feel this really intense energy right in my solar plexus region. So kind of right at the bottom of my rib cage. And this is one of the chakras. And to be honest, I used to not really believe in the chakras. I knew for me personally, they just weren't true. And I meditated on silent retreats, and I had, looked deeply and never really noticed or experienced really clear, just never had clear experiences of the chakras other than, my heart center. And I could feel the other ones, the areas that people were guiding me to, but nothing that made me believe all the other stuff that's attached to them, such as the different meanings behind each chakra. But after these recent experiences, I definitely am a believer, because really the solar plexus is the source of your passion, your power. And I believe, really your power. And I believe our power is in our passion. And so this just was funny that this was starting to come up. And it was, to the point where, like, while I was in the sauna, it was like this ball of energy right there, and almost like twitching and a little bit uncomfortable, like a block, And so then I had ayahuasca, which was mind-blowing. There wasn't much of a theme with the solar plexus. That comes in much clearer in the San Pedro journey. The ayahuasca journey was gentle for me, actually. It was really, really beautiful. The experience with this authentic Colombian shaman was totally surreal. He's human, but he's like so much more than human. He just had this beautiful, mysterious essence about him. He was just grounded in such pure stillness. And that really felt like one of the main lessons throughout the ayahuasca journey. There's many moments where it felt like our patience was being tested to some degree, like just the serving of the medicine was this very, very drawn out process, which was already much later than we were expecting, and much later than we were already there. And there's lots of anticipation, and it was cold. And but it was almost like it was all teaching us this lesson of patience and stillness and just simply being. And it was all really just beautiful to witness his ceremony. He was singing into every cup, singing chants into every cup, one person in the tent at a time kind of thing, to serve the medicine. During the ceremony is just, it's hard to find words. It was so many insights were coming and going. Some key takeaways from that journey, really just key things to appreciate was the shaman's music. He was playing the harmonica, and it was really otherworldly. It was like he was playing on the edge of chaos constantly. Like literally felt like he was just like one
breath away from us all just disappearing that even makes sense. But I think it's truly profound. I have such deep respect for what they do, because I do think they have to enter into a profoundly deep surrendered state to allow everyone else to have the profound transformative experiences that they do have. And that completely surrendered state was coming out through his music, and it was just profound. And his chants and his shaker and the harmonica was just, yeah, really profound. And the more, like, yeah, the whole journey was amazing. I can't really put it into words, really. It's just, it felt like we're in an interdimensional spaceship of some sort. The stuff that I've talked about with the wind and other ones, that was all happening. It was like this really just alternate dimension that was still connected to the physical reality, that was just flowing and moving and intricate and beautiful. For me, it was deeply just coming back to my heart, and yeah, it did feel, and part of the reason I think why it's so difficult finding words for it is because it wasn't complete. It wasn't complete. I had this plan of this other journey, and it was, the medicine, I think, kind of anticipates that. In some sense, it's like if you're going in with a plan for 2 journeys, it ends up becoming 1 journey. It's like everything that happened in the first journey is just preparing you for the next one. And so, yeah, it was really beautiful. Before the ceremony started, I had an opportunity to play the didgeridoo in front of everyone in the ceremony, which was really cool. And then in the morning, after the ceremony, I was also playing and just connecting with friends and jamming, and just my heart was just so full. It was precious. Everyone there was really beautiful, like instant soul fam. The way I was playing that morning was the most calm and gentle and effortless flow from my heart that I had ever experienced in my playing. It was really a level up. And yeah, there's not much more that I need to say on that one. Then comes Pedro. So, also for a little bit of context with this Pedro journey, the only reason that this was on my list for this particular time was because I was actually given some medicine after I had sat in a group ceremony a couple months prior. So I'd sat in a group ceremony, San Pedro. I haven't told the trip report for that. I don't know for sure if I will, because actually the medicine didn't affect me. I had lots of it. I know what it's supposed to feel like, and it never showed its face. It was a beautiful night. It was like just in this beautiful teepee and this circle of amazing people, really inspiring people. The ceremony was held by 5 musicians. They played amazing music. We sang together. We jammed together as a group. It was beautiful, but just not what I was expecting. And I had mentioned that the next day because it was, something that was just a part of my journey, and we were all sharing our journey, and it was something that I had to move through to accept that, okay, it may not be what I was expecting it to be, but this is still really beautiful. And after sharing, before I left, our guide, plant medicine guide that evening, gave me some more medicine to do a solo journey, because he knew I was quite well acquainted with the medicine and desired to reconnect with it, because I hadn't truly connected with it since this really, really wild, airbending, crazy, insane experience that I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, which I haven't fully shared that story either. And I was trying to sort of integrate that experience. Part of the reason why that experience, just as a side note, was so challenging to integrate is because it just showed me like how powerful we are, how powerful our minds really are on shifting our reality, and the sort of responsibility that comes with that. And yeah, it's the implications of it are really, really immense. And it's helped me understand so much more about just the way the world works. For example, why people have such huge wars over religion and spiritual beliefs. And I think it's because, these beliefs are not just nothing. They're really creating realities, and people who really understand that will protect that with everything. And in some ways, to them, the physical reality is less important than this spiritual reality that they've created, that I think really exists. So yeah, that's a little side note. So the Pedro, I was given this medicine to do another deep dive solo on my own. And it just, the stars aligned that it was going to happen after this Aya journey. And I was intended to pour my soul into the Didge, to become one with the Didge was my intention for this journey. So I took the medicine. 2 hours into it, I still hadn't felt anything. I decide to go up into the sauna at my place, and sort of just maybe I figured about maybe that'll help like trigger the experience. And so I was in the sauna. It was a good long one, and about halfway through the sauna, again, similar to the experience I was describing before I started to feel this energy in my solar plexus. And it started becoming super intense, like this ball, like this sun that was just like a block, like a huge block of energy, a sun that wanted to explode, it felt like. It was super uncomfortable. It was difficult to breathe. It made me want to just curl up in a ball, but I also I felt how that wasn't good. It was sort of a resistance of it. So I was, trying to sit up straight with a high posture, and the more straight and aligned I was, the more intense this energy was. So which all makes sense. Like, it was a blockage, right? And as I straightened my back, it allowed more energy to flow into the blockage. And it was just building and building. And I was sat in the sauna. I tried to bear it for as long as I could. I was breathing through it. Trying to shake it out. Did all kinds of things, did lots of movement. as I'm coming out of this, out of the sauna, I'm like fully aware that, you know, Pedro is here, but it's not, yeah, it hasn't fully arrived. Like it's, it's coming. Basically, I could feel it, but there's no psychedelic effects yet. It was purely just this like physical, energetic, intense sensation in my solar plexus. That was it. And so I was getting out of the sauna, like making funny noises and stuff, make my way, go for a dip in the creek, which was really helpful, provided a little bit of ease. But it was still there. But, you know, just, this is a cold creek. It's like a full on cold water immersion. And I was in there, just absolutely loving it and doing like a full stretch, arching my back, just allowing that energy to release in any way that it could, just to give me a little bit of ease in my body. And it was really beautiful. And then I went to, yeah. Then I went to my little ceremony space in this bell tent and had it all planned. I had a beautiful little joint rolled, which I intended to smoke at any point during the journey, but it felt appropriate to do it then, because nothing had really fully kicked off. So I thought, well, maybe this will help initiate it. So I smoked a little J, sat down on this lovely cushion, and then I played the Didge. And it's really difficult to describe, but the moment I put my lips under that Didge and played, I was playing like I never had played before. It was just instant, massive upgrades in the way that I could control the air. Essentially, I just had intense control. It was like all this energy within me. This gave me just so much more power in my brain, and the medicine itself, like instantly was psychedelic. As soon as that was the other crazy thing. Smoked a bit of weed, you know, feeling that altered state a little bit. But the moment I put my lips and played through the Didge, it was like, I was like deep into the peak of the San Pedro journey. And playing and just seeing patterns fly as I'm playing, and it's just effortlessly coming out, and I'm just fully channeling in ways that I had never done. Like it was it was really beautiful. The whole journey was that, essentially just pouring my soul into the Didge and playing with like passion, like real passion. I was releasing all that stuck energy through the Didge very directly through passionate playing. And it was, yeah, it just incredible. And eventually that tension and blockage totally subsided, and then I became much more in my heart, and I was feeling just really playing from my heart. And there was some moments later in the journey where I actually got a little bit like anxious that perhaps my playing was potentially annoying my roommates who were, you know, doing their own thing. And then I started feeling just how deep that wound is of feeling like my creativity is not appreciated. And so I went through just a massive journey, didn't play for like 4 hours, just feeling that and trying to like process where that all is coming from. During that whole time, I just felt like I had such a deep embodied understanding of the creative process, and far more than ever before understood how vulnerable the process is, and how how important one's personal connection to their soul, like how important their journey is to connect to their soul, to allow their creativity to flourish. So that was really, really beautiful. Other things that came up during that was all of these possibilities. I had this profound sense that I could change the world with this darn stick. And I really do believe that it is going to be one of the most important things that I pursue. Perhaps the most significant one, which just, I mean, it makes sense. That's what many people who become obsessed with a musical instrument, it ends up becoming the most important thing of their life. And for me, it was just feeling that and recognizing the power that it has, the power that music has to change the world, was deeply, deeply felt. Like, really, the power of our music is almost directly correlative to how deeply we've gone into the depths of our own heart. How deeply we've connected with our own heart determines how powerful our music is, how powerful of an impact our music can have. I also came to realize just how important music is in ceremony, for holding space. It can be a just profound tool to hold space in ceremony. And there's still more to discover and play and practice with that. But seeing the shaman from Colombia integrate music and chanting so deeply into the ceremony, and then feeling the power of the music in the Pedro journey, it made me realize how significant it is. And not just any music, but also how you play the music in ceremony. It's like a really deeply surrendered state is required, I believe. Just to play with no ego, no nothing, just for your heart's desire. And I believe that's the best way to hold space, really. At least it seems important, not essential, and maybe not the best way. But it's a valuable tool. People can hold space without music for sure. And, there's lots of other things happening under someone guiding, sublimating energy, and all of these things are super important. But you can sublimate energy through music in really profound ways. So it's showed me that. So one more kind of crazy thing that's just worth throwing out into the field for people to ponder is that I found it quite strange, interesting that the medicine didn't work that previous time. And some people may not believe this, but just with the experience I've had with these medicines and the way they can tap you into a dimension that is not time dependent. It's the space of synchronicities. It's where real magic can really happen. And it's from many experiences like that where what I'm about to tell you, to me, is just what I believe is most likely true. Because I find it incredibly strange that the medicine didn't work for me last time. And part of me thinks that medicine knew in some incomprehensible way that if the medicine didn't work for me then the guide was going to give me some medicine, and then I was going to go and have the most profound journey of my life on my own. Crazy story, but just might be true. So suffice to say that with that coming in, just it was truly remarkable. It was like it was the integrative piece to not just that journey, but like dozens of journeys. Everything. It was just everything came into one. My really challenging experiences with Pedro, well, the really beautiful but also challenging ones, were sort of made sense, really. It's like everything that I was experiencing with the wind and everything was all kind of related to the didgeridoo. It was like the same movement or manipulation of energy in my body that I was experiencing while dancing with the wind is the same experience that I have while playing the didgeridoo. It's really hard to describe, but when I play, I'm not, imagining the physical parts of my body moving. It is like very much just this energetic field that I'm like imagining that has no real physical form, and it can kind of just flow and dance and move. And it's the experience that I've had in Vipassana during deep meditation. It's the experience that I've had in plant medicine. It's just recognizing that we're like energetic beings more so than physical beings. You know, we are physical, we have physical form, but our deeper truth, I believe, is much more complex and energetic. This really kind of starts tapping into how I really view reality, and I think I really do believe we live in this multidimensional reality, and there's parts of our being that are more connected to the other dimensions than our, outwardly facing physical form. And we do have like these energy centers that are connected to these other dimensions, and they do connect to specific feelings, emotions. They have meaning, each one individually. And the more we get in touch with these, the more we align them, the more we connect them to our heart, is what I believe. I believe like the heart is our center, but the more we connect all these, the more we just ease we have in life. And the thing is, you don't actually need to be aware of them either. I think the more you grow, naturally, these things will also align, but you don't need to be aware that they're aligning. So yeah, it's been beautiful, and I'm just beyond excited to continue on this journey, to learning more about me. Know thyself is really what I'm realizing, the path I'm on. I really want to understand my existence. And it's beautiful that people have kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of these things. And there are all these theories and sort of maps of our being, which can tell you all about everything. But really, until you experience these things, it's hard to imagine. And so, yeah, you have to have an experience really to understand. That's all I can really say. Something that was interesting during the Vipassana that I did recently, the chakras were also coming up more clearly. And in that particular one, it was mostly the heart center and my throat center. And during that time, it felt like slowly the heart and my throat chakra were beginning to like merge. And what I mean by that is, if I was aware of the point at the center of my heart and then became aware of the point at the center of my throat, I could sort of move between them more effortlessly. And then it became moving one was moving the other. And then it became moving one would move the other, but then they just became one. And it was like this dance. And I think the next thing that's happening is my solar plexus is now beginning to merge with my heart. And I think then it's just going to keep going outwards from the heart, merging all the chakras. That's my theory, at least for now. But really, theories are theories. Mind is mind. You don't need it. You just go in and experience, and beauty will unravel. And the mysteries will become known. And then more mysteries will be awaiting you after that. So I think that's all. I think that's all I'm going to share for now, or all I really have to share on that. Basically, lots of knots have been tied, I think. Maybe that's not the best phrase. Clarity. I found a lot of clarity over these last few journeys, and sort of realignment on my path and where I should be focusing my energy. And a motivation to express more of my passion, which is also why I'm recording this, because I really love to share these things, and I always feel so full in my heart after sharing these. So more of these are coming, and more passionate playing the didgeridoo and more sharing of that is also coming. And yeah, that's all. If you like this, please do all the things. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I'd love to just get feedback, and then also all of the things help other people find the things, and if you like it, then someone else will like it. So yeah, I would love the support. That is all for now. Until next time. Ciao.